at Formula Fast. We've had 3 drivers qualifying so far for the final, and they're all using the same kart. That's key in this. The 3 drivers using the same kart. So far, we've got a provisional pole for Remy Draska. He's on the pole just fractionally quicker than Michael O'Brien and Brian Kroon in 3rd place. Now we've got Jake Campbell-Mills, and Jake Campbell-Mills is the 4th of the 10 drivers to qualify. So Campbell-Mills, he's on his warm-up lap now, and it's a 1-lap qualifying, but all the drivers use the same kart. So 1 at a time they go, as opposed to a group like we've seen so far in the heats in the semi-final. Here comes Campbell-Mills. Campbell-Mills is going to start his qualifying lap now, and there he goes across the line. We've got Lee Hackett's with me in the commentary box here, and Lee Hackett is also making a manual time, so we've got an idea, but the organisers are keeping us updated with what's going on time-wise. Gone to the backup timing system, and Jake Campbell-Mills there, he's looking really fast and really smooth. We saw Michael O'Brien catch the wall there, but Jake Campbell-Mills doesn't. That's got to be good news for him. And a good work down the bottom there. Here comes Jake Campbell-Mills into the stadium area. There he is, and he's going to complete the lap now. This is qualifying lap, and he takes the checker now, and well, it's looking fairly close to the others. That might be a fraction slower though. 34.349. How close do you want it? Remy Draska on the pole with a 34.297. Michael O'Brien second, 34.317. And then Jake Campbell-Mills is 34.349. So Jake Campbell-Mills puts himself 3rd. Jake Campbell-Mills is 3rd. We've still got Remy Draska on the pole. And Michael O'Brien 2nd. Jake Campbell-Mills 3rd. And Brian Kroon is 4th. And Kroon is 0.3 of a second off the pace of the other 3. So 4 drivers in there. They're all using the same kart, so there's absolutely no question over anyone having a better kart than anyone else. This is purely for the qualifying. They'll obviously be in their individual karts for the main final itself after the qualifying. Right then, so next up we're expecting to see Stefan Verhofstadt. So Stefan Verhofstadt, what a great performance we've seen from him. He won his semi-final, and that was the most commanding performance we've seen from Stefan all weekend. He won one of the heat races as well, but a single win and 2 second place in heat races, a bit of a lower position, about 4th in another heat race, but winning the semi-final gave him enough points to get into the final. There's Verhofstadt. Stefan Verhofstadt joins the track now. He's on his warm-up lap. This is the warm-up lap, I must stress. He's going through the Snell section and out towards the far end of the track. Now on the long sweeping bend, heading for the back straight. And Verhofstadt is on the back straight now. That's Verhofstadt on the back straight. Out of view of the camera, but Verhofstadt on the back straight. He's coming into, there he is, round the corner. Now he's coming into the stadium area. Here's Verhofstadt, there he is. Stefan Verhofstadt. He's going to start his qualifying lap now. So Stefan Verhofstadt is on his qualifying lap. And round the Snell section he goes. That's Stefan Verhofstadt. There he is in the distance on the Snell section. We're getting a bit of a close-up on that. There's Verhofstadt in the dark section there of the track. A bit of a dark turn, that one. Now he heads out round the back, a long sweeping bend, heading for the back straight. Heading for the back straight comes Stefan Verhofstadt. There he is, racing down the back straight there. And into the turn at the end, the hairpin. We've seen some action there. Oh, Verhofstadt runs a bit wide, maybe. So we'll see if that's cost him or gained him. Stefan Verhofstadt now through the stadium section and takes the flag. There he is. Okay, and it's looking quick, that one. What's the official? 34.160. Oh, a fantastic run. 34.160. That's the provisional pole position for Stefan Verhofstadt. He's done what he needed, and we've got a bit of, those of you at home may want to know, in the commentary box here, we've got a fair bit of childishness going on here. Just to recap, we have Lee Hackett, twice British champion in the BRKC, is up here with me. He's actually doing some timing with his watch on his phone, but we've also got Michael Weddle, because Michael Weddle is out of the event. Russell Ending's out of the event, so he's doing some timing as well.
We have actually got proper timing working.
We have got proper timing working, but this is for bragging rights, beer money and everything else. So yeah, this is a kind of stupid game, but that's what we've got going on. And at the moment, winning the timing championship is Russell Ending. He's out of the event from a karting point of view, but he's in the race there with the stopwatch. Okay, so next up, because that was Stefan Verhofstadt, and Stefan Verhofstadt has gone on for the provisional pole. Now this is going to be interesting. Matt Barsz. Matt Barsz, relatively unknown Polish driver, certainly unknown to us, and he has turned up this weekend and really turned on the style. He's had several wins. He's had 1, 2, 3. Yes, 3 wins. As no, that's Laporte. 1, 2, 3. 3 wins. Yes, also for Matt Barsz, and a 3rd place. He struggled a little bit in the semi-final, but he's got enough points to make it into this final, and he's out qualifying now. So this is actually his warm-up lap. Down the backstretch he goes. There's Matt Barsz, the Polish driver, who's really impressed us this weekend with his performances. So Barsz, he's about to cross the line. He starts his timed run now. So there's Matt Barsz. He's really going to be going for this one. Let's see what he's like through the snail. He's sliding through the snail there. That normally costs time, but Barsz is very good at keeping time. He really ran Johnny Elliott close in the practice sessions on Friday. He was 2nd fastest, only just by about 0.03 of a second after a whole day of practicing on Friday. So unofficially 2nd fastest in the testing. And here comes Barsz. He's going to complete his qualifying run now. And Barsz comes across the line. There's Barsz on screen, and he crossed the line, and that's it. Oh, it's looking very good. Wow, 34.087. Barsz is on the pole now. So Stefan Verhofstadt, he set the unofficial pole position, and he's been bumped down into 2nd place by Matt Barsz. So Matt Barsz is the current pole position driver. Next up, we've got former world champion Greg Laporte. We'll see what he can do, but at the moment, Matt Barsz is the man. He's 34.087. The question is, as this qualifying session goes on, will someone put it into the 33 seconds? They're so close now. 33.087 by Matt Barsz, the Polish driver. Next up will, of course, be Greg Laporte, the former world champion. Okay, so it's okay to talk.
Just not in our direction.
Okay then, so next up it's Greg Laporte. There's Greg, we can see him now. That's Laporte written on the back of the suit there, we can see on the screen now. And sorry, Lee, important note about Greg Laporte there. What was that, Lee Hackett?
Very nice shiny helmet.
Excellent. Well, that's the opinion of the twice British champion. Greg Laporte, we saw him a notable performance. We've seen him win a couple of races, but particularly notable was Laporte's 9th to 4th in the semi-final. He only qualified 9th and came racing through to 4th place. A very impressive performance. Great strategy by Laporte. Here he comes, hugging the wall down the back straight. There he goes, into the hairpin. That's Greg Laporte, former world champion, Belgian driver, Blue Star Racing team member. Very decorated driver, and he's beginning his timed run now. There's Laporte crossing the line, and Laporte is on his qualifying lap. Let's see what he can do. He's very neat through the snail section. That's typical Greg Laporte driving, keeping it very neat and tidy. And around, out from the snail he comes. He's on the back part of the circuit now, round that big sweeping bend towards the back straight. He's coming down the back straight as we speak. There he is on screen. Down goes Greg Laporte into the hairpin at the end there. Fairly early turning from Laporte, and hugging the inside all the way into the stadium section now. He's going to complete the lap. He's actually glanced the wall. That may have cost him. And Laporte, well, this is going to be close. 34.159 for Greg Laporte. That puts him 2nd fastest by, I reckon, in Lee Hackett. What do you think about that? Touched the wall though, do you think that might be a factor?
Yeah, a couple of clips, I reckon, just towards the end of his lap. Couldn't have affected him much getting 2nd. Might have been on pole if that hadn't happened.
Absolutely, and at the moment that puts Greg Laporte behind Matt Barsz. Matt Barsz is the current pole sitter still. And next up, well, we've got Ruben Boutins. Ruben Boutins, of course, is the reigning champion in the British Rental Car Championship. He's the reigning British champion. He's a Dutchman and has flown over particularly for this event. Ruben, as I've been saying all weekend, last year, a great year for him. He won the British Championship, he won the Belgian Championship, and he won the Dutch Championship. So he's hoping 2015 is going to go a similar way. He's a seriously strong competitor. and out goes Ruben Boutin. It's interesting to note his sister Annaline, she didn't quite get enough points to make the final this time. She won her semi-final, but she hasn't got enough points overall. It's a point-based system. Remember, the semi-finals and even the final, all they really serve is to allow you to keep scoring points. It is a points championship, remember. So here comes Ruben Boutin. He's the reigning champion. We'll see what he can do. This time last year he overtook his sister. His sister's actually on the pole position for the final race, but Ruben Boutin is going to be making sure that it's him this time, and out through the stadium onto the flying lap now. That's Ruben Boutin. He's coming into the snail section now. Very, very neat and tidy, and Ruben Boutin's getting that thing turned in nicely. A little bit more slidey looking into the snail section there, Lee Hackett. What do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely slightly different to all of the drivers so far. See if he's quicker in about 20 seconds.
Well, absolutely. That's about all he's got left on the track, as Ruben Boutin's at the bottom of the pit straight there, back into the stadium area. There he is on screen. Ruben Boutin's the reigning champion. And that is Ruben Boutin's crossing the line. And what's he done? Oh, this is fast. This is fast. Oh, Ruben Boutin's just about sneaks the pole position away from Matt Barch. 34.064 is what we've got, and that's against the 34.087 of Matt Barch. So Ruben Boutin's just takes the pole position. He's on provisional pole. There are 2 more drivers to make attempts, and Ruben Boutin's, he's on the provisional pole, but the 2 drivers yet to come are former world champion Matthias Cruton and Ed White, and Ed White has not lost a single race at all this weekend. So certainly Ruben Boutin's is on the provisional pole, but he's got to be nervous about the drivers ahead. Next up, it's Matthias Cruton. Matthias Cruton is going to be getting in the cart. Ruben Boutin's will be pleased. He'll be finding out just now he's on the provisional pole, but he knows only too well, with Cruton and White still to come, it's going to be a tough one to try and stay on top of that situation. Okay, so Matthias Cruton takes the track with the qualifying cart there. They're all using the same cart as we said. So there's Cruton in the snail section. This is his warm-up lap. Cruton, like Laporte, a former world champion. Clearly these drivers are among the best in the world for rental karting. And Matthias Cruton, he's undefeated in the heat races, but came 3rd in the semi-final. Sorry, this is the final they're qualifying for now. So Cruton begins his qualifying run on this lap. So he's crossing the line now. There's Matthias Cruton. He's on the qualifying lap, and Cruton looking really good. Gosh, he gets turned in well there. That was really slick there, Lee Hackett. What do you think?
Yeah, again, different to Boutin's. Cruton's obviously on pole, so I don't know whether this will work.
Well, we're going to find out, as you said earlier, in about 20 seconds. Down the back stretch to go. There is Cruton, so close to the barrier, but not touching it. Not touching it at all. We can hear it very clearly when they do, and couldn't hear a thing. Maybe a tap of the wall there, so Cruton possibly hit the wall. We'll see what it does to his lap time. He finishes. Oh, this is going to be very quick. Very quick. Oh, 34.070. Just 0.006 of a second slower than Ruben Boutin. So Ruben Boutin can breathe a slight sigh of relief there, and he has 1 more person to go, but it is the incredible Ed White. Ed White is the final qualifier now. This is the last qualifier. It's going to be Ed White. Ed White is absolutely undefeated all weekend, and if there was one race he's going to win, I'm sure he'd trade all 5 wins he's had so far this weekend for a win in the final. And let's be fair, it's probably going to take a pole position start for him to do that. Matthias Cruton is...
slowing the temperature down a bit there.
Sorry, Lee Hackett, what was that?
Bit of a tactic employed there, I think. Nice and slow on the in-lap, cooling the tyres down a bit.
It has to be fair, that was a pretty slow end to the in-lap, so maybe a bit of gamesmanship by Cruton there. And but he is currently 2nd fastest. It's the reigning champion Ruben Boutin who still has the pole position, and Matthias Cruton is currently 2nd, but as I say, a mere 0.006 of a second. If you can count that, you're doing very well indeed. But that's the difference over a whole lap between Cruton and Boutin. Okay, here's the final qualifier. It's Ed White. Ed White, completely undefeated. He's had 5 wins out of 5 starts. He's had 5 pole positions out of 5 attempts, and he's barely been headed. The only person who's actually held anything to him all weekend has been Brian Kroon, who gave him such a run for his money in the semi-final there. Brian Kroon showing really well against Ed White. Apart from that, Ed White has had no equals this weekend. Anyhow, here he comes. He's starting his qualifying run now. Across the line he goes on his qualifying lap. Let's see what happens here. Lee, do you think this could well be pole position for him?
Yeah, early to say, nice and clean, no barrier touches yet. So if he keeps it up, it's looking good.
Yeah, it is looking good so far for Ed White. He's really making short work of this one. He's on the back stretch. There he is. He's coming down the back straight, close to the barrier. Drifted in. Oh, he's run wide. He's run wide. This could be a problem for Ed White. If ever there was one time when he needed to be neat, it was now and almost in the wall, but it's not quite. Oh, well, we think this one. We're waiting for confirmation. We don't think he's done it. And Ed White does go quickest. Ed White quickest by 6/100ths of a second, just 6/100ths of a second in it. And Ed White has taken pole for the British Championship final. The final of the British Rental Car Championship here at Formula Fast in Milton Keynes has been taken by Ed White. Ed White really will be relieved at that, because with the calibre of competition behind him, it's got to be said that's probably half the job done, because everyone behind him so very, very good. And if he was to start behind them at all, he would surely struggle with that. But Ed White has put it on pole position. He's the final qualifier, and he's gone fastest. So we're looking at a grid lineup at the moment. As far as we're concerned, Lee, it's Ed White on pole. And actually, as you've organised it, Lee, do you want to read out the start positions then?
Okay, so starting in 10th place is Brian Kroon. 9th place, Jake Campbell-Mills. 8th place is Michael O'Brien. 7th place, I can't really say his name very well.
Remy Draska.
That one there. In 6th place is Stefan de Hoster. In 5th, Greg Laporte. 4th is Matthias Bart. 3rd, Matthias Gruten. 2nd place is Ruben Boutons. And on pole, Ed White.
So an impressive performance there. So Lee Hackett reads out the results there. An impressive performance by Ed White to take the pole position. He's going to be starting though ahead of the reigning champion. Now,
the guys are going to be ready to go, camera crew. Yeah, ready for the final, yeah.
So they're getting the carts all lined up now. Of course, the qualifying cart is probably not going to be running, but we'll see what's what. We haven't got the timing, so we don't know exactly what cart is being driven by whom. But certainly we've got a handle on now who's in what, who looks like what, Lee. So we know what we're looking at. We just haven't got the timing to back it up. So let's have a look at this. The drivers will make their kart draws. Of course, the karts selected by choice, and Ed White, as the fastest qualifier, will have the advantage of choosing first.
We've got Ed,
Ed's first.
Ruben
second.
Matthias.
Ruben third.
Then Matthias Barch, Greg Laporte, Stefan.
Okay, so we're looking on the screen now.
Remigius.
They're the drivers. That's
Michael,
Ruben Boutons
Jake,
with his helmet off.
Brian.
And Ruben is going to be qualifying. He's qualified second. He's looking to join Lee Hackett, who's up here with me, as a 2-time British champion in BRKC. And we'll see what he can do. Looking down the lineup of karts and just waiting to issue those karts out to each of the drivers.
Are they fueling them? They feel great. No, I feel great.
Yeah, they're just getting the lineup. I'm just lining them up now, and the drivers are there waiting, ready. Ed White, he's standing behind the car to the front. That's the one he's picked. He's raring to go. He's probably just anxious to get this job done now. Ed White, this is his best shot so far of winning the British Rental Car Championship. He's going to be starting the final from the pole position, but he has got Ruben Boutons behind him, and he's got some great strategists behind him. Ed White, we've seen just disappearing in the distance, Lee, and Ed, he Well, he's going to have his best racing brain on, I think, here, because right behind him he's got the likes of Booten, he's got Grooten, he's got Laporte. These people have got to really think their way through these races.
Yeah, Ed's he's been basically outright fastest, so he hasn't had to think about race strategy too much. He's just been quick enough to win it on pace. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with the competition behind now.
Absolutely, Lee. It's going to be interesting because so far, as you rightly point out, it's been Ed White who's actually done all the work with his right foot. He hasn't really needed to engage the brain much because he's literally just driven away from the opposition, with the one notable exception of Brian Kroon. Now, Brian Kroon is actually starting 10th, so we're not really anticipating that he's going to be battling with Ed White for position. Looks like one of the carts is getting a bit more of a thorough check than the others. And so Ed White now is going to be forced into thinking. So this could be an interesting sort of change in situation. So far he's been able to drive away from the opposition, but if there's any opposition he's facing this weekend that he's not simply going to be able to drive away from, this is it right here. The idea of talking about someone just driving away from, say, Ruben Boutens, Matthias Grooten, Matt Barsh and Greg Laporte seems pretty absurd to my thinking, Lee.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close race. And I mean, we've seen both strategies work, so it'll be interesting to see which ones the drivers pick.
Absolutely, it's as everyone's going to be running relatively similar pace. I mean, what's the difference between the lap times? We're looking at just over half a second, aren't we? 1/10 of a second amongst the top 5. We've got 4 drivers recording times of 34.0. So that's going to be very close. Even the final qualifier there, which is Brian Kroon, he came in with a 34.6, so he's only half a second behind. And so we can expect that really back markers won't come into play at all because everyone's been going so fast. Now, on paper, if we're looking again at a similar distance race, okay, so we're anticipating a 30-minute race. We've got 2 pit stops involved in that, so maybe some people may go for 2 pit stops near the end. Maybe they'll be planning one early and then holding one for later in case they need to try and pit stop their way around someone. But just on sheer pace, if we look at these qualifying times, if we took these as a guide, then if Brian Kroon is running half a second off the pace of Ed White, who's on the pole, then still Brian probably won't go a lap down on sheer pace, all things being equal, because we're looking at a 34-second lap. If Kroon's losing half a second, then in 30 minutes, what would that put him back? That would put him back 15 seconds. Yeah, so he'd only be half a lap down. So no, 30 minutes.
60
well, in fact, Brian Kroon would be just about a lap down, wouldn't he? So yeah, Lee, I reckon that's going to put him about a lap down. So Lee, it's going to be a very tight one. What do you think we might see strategy? Do you think we might see everyone going for a similar strategy, or do you think there might be a few mavericks in there playing their own game?
I think it will take 4 corners for the first drivers to realise if they're coming in after the first lap. If they make a good start, stay out. If not, I think we'll see a couple of drivers peeling off in the early laps to try and get that clean space. Yeah, well, that's probably what it comes down to. So you reckon 4 corners for people to start thinking about what they're going to do. Obviously, 2 pit stops does make a difference. I remember, obviously, we both raced in the World Championships ourselves. The longer heat race, the hour-long one in the World Championship, does involve 2 pit stops, doesn't it, if I remember rightly? And so sometimes you use your first one to sort of get it out of the way, and the second one if you think you're going to be mired in some sort of problem. So clearly, I can't imagine anyone getting mired in any kind of problem in this group. But well, it will be interesting to see how this shapes out. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be many back markers around, so I think they're just going to be used as tactical pit stops to gain time or to try and leapfrog or get out of the way of someone else who you don't want to battle with. Absolutely, and all the drivers we can see in this, particularly the foreign guys, they're used to running at this level. Obviously, there's no question that Grooten and Boutens and Laporte, Verhofstadt,
and Drazga, they're used to this kind of situation, and it's not really a problem for them trying to think their way through this. Ed White, of course, a double pit stop race is not really something he's going to be used to, so he may be trying to sort of work it out as he goes along, possibly. Obviously, we don't know. We've not really seen before Kroon or Barge. Certainly, Michael O'Brien will probably not be going into this with any prefixed ideas. We'll have to see how this one shapes out. The drivers are getting in the karts now. We can see on the screen there as each of the drivers gets in the karts. The kart's going to be pretty cold, as you can imagine. Up at the front there, of course, there's Ed White. We're looking at an empty kart at the moment, but behind that's Stefan Verhofstadt in the 17 kart. Stefan Verhofstadt.
He's starting quite far from the rear, depending on why they've organised the karts.
Yeah, it's to do with the number he's picked.
Putting them all in the middle order.
Reorganising, going around, I think, Lee. But well, that's what they'll have to do because Brian Kroon is going to be in the middle of the pack, and he's qualified last. So yeah, he'd probably be quite happy to see. Yeah, he'll take the start there. I'm sure if you go and ask Brian, he'll take that one. Starting ahead of Matthias Grooten as well. So I'm sure, yeah, Brian would go with that. But certainly, as Greg Laporte just walking back towards his kart, and that's Barsh there walking past in the grey and black suit. The rest of the drivers are in the karts though. Laporte and Barsh just taking their positions. Busy
wishing each other luck.
fraternising in the back there. And we're looking there at the pole man. Looking behind that is Ed White. Ed White looking up at the camera there in the yellow and blue helmet. Ed White.
Lovely helmet.
Yeah, and
I like that design.
behind him, of course, not starting in that position, just starting a little bit further back, is going to be Michael O'Brien. In fact, Michael O'Brien starting quite a lot further back in 8th place. There's Ruben Boutons, the reigning British champion, in the 15 kart there. That is Ruben Boutons, and behind him is, it looks like Greg Laporte. So Ruben Boutons there in the number 15. He's going to be second on the starting lineup. And Ed White really is going to have to earn this championship now. He's literally going to have to earn his money. £900 if he can get to that line first, basically. Lee, that's got to be a hell of an incentive to stay ahead of these foreign guys.
Yeah, it's a pretty tasty incentive. He's got his work cut out with these guys, but he can count the pennies rolling in if he does do it.
Absolutely right. So there's 900 quid to him if he can make it. This guy here, Michael O'Brien, he's got a lot more work to do, but I'm sure he's got his eye on 900 quid. Ruben Boutons, obviously, he'd be pleased with £900 too, and I'm sure Greg Laporte as well. Certainly they'll be travelling back home in style. A few more bottles of champagne on Eurostar, I would have thought. And there's Jake Campbell-Mills. Now, Jake Campbell-Mills, he's going to be starting in 9th place. And there's Brian Kroon, the 10th place starter. He's in the number 8. The camera moves further back to Matthias Grooten. Matthias Grooten there in the blue suit. And that's Remy Drazga. Remy Drazga there, we've seen great performances by him. And behind him, that's Matt Barsh, an unknown Polish driver until this weekend. And gosh, we know him too well now, that's for sure. And Stefan Verhofstadt. Now, these are not the positions they're going to start in for the final of the British Rental Kart Championship. This is purely the way they're going to leave the pits. The drivers have nominated their karts, and that just so happens that's the lineup. So they'll have to reorganise that. Brian Kroon, for example, there we were talking about, he would of course be happy to start there if he could, but he's going to have to start from 10th and last. My name's James Auld. I'm with Lee Hackett. We're going to be talking your way through the final once this gets underway. And Lee, of course, needs no introduction, twice winner of the British Championship, and he's going to be calling this championship final. Trying to join him as a twice winner is, of course, Ruben Boutons. Now, Ruben Boutons got out of his car for some reason. We've got some conversation going on down there. It's Ruben making his way. Yeah, I think he's having a little chat, maybe talking some strategy or something with someone who's going to start behind him. Maybe they've got a plan already. It's going to take some kind of plan to separate Ed White from that lead, though.
Yeah, I think all drivers aim to work together, but in the end they need to think about themselves. They've got to pit when they need to.
Absolutely, Lee. I'm sure they'll work together, but they certainly won't be working together when we get to those last few laps. Needless to say, it's quite something to win here because there's spaces in the World Championship up for grabs. There's all kind of prizes, and not least of which is £900 for the winner. Now, when it costs about 140 quid to enter the British Rental Kart Championship, and you're winning £900, percentage-wise, that's got to be about the biggest prize in motorsport. I mean, I'm thinking about, yes, if you win the Indy 500, you're going to take a couple of million home, but you're going to spend a couple of million to win that race. So if you win a Formula 1 race, you're going to be spending more than you're taking home. So really, certainly in terms of British motorsport, this is where the profit is, right here in the British Rental Kart Championship. I mean, even if you win in Super 1, you're not walking away with this kind of money.
No, I mean,
One of the drivers we don't really know too well, but he's made it into the final. A great showing there by Kroon. Kroon, of course, did it really on his fantastic second place and battle with, I think it was Matthias Grooten. No, it was Ed White. Battle with Ed White. He's been the only one so far to give Ed White a run for his money, but he hasn't won a race yet, Brian Kroon. Brad making his way up, Matthias Grooten. Brad, of course, knows most of these guys very well from the European scene and whatnot. He's there with Matt Barsh, unknown.
Them to do one roll in that.
Yeah, he's busy telling them what they're going to do and, well, how they're going to spend it. So, Brad there's reached the end. Stefan Verhofstadt wasn't forced to listen to Brad too much there. Brad had obviously run out of words by the time he got to the back there, Verhofstadt. So, Stefan Verhofstadt spared a lowdown on how to spend his 900 quid. We're just looking to get this ready so that we can get the starting lineup formed up. All the drivers are in the cars, the engines are running. It sounds like we're good to go. I'm sure the nerves are really building up there. There's Ruben Boutons, there's Greg Laporte looking around and clearly quite relaxed actually, Greg Laporte. It's, well, he's been in a lot of events like this. It's pretty much business as usual for these European guys, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fairly standard procedure now. They normally make the final, normally together, so they've got to, I mean, they've already done all their thinking. It's just getting down to the race now and see how it plans out.
Absolutely. For a long time, the leaders in rental kart championship, particularly indoors, the leaders in this type of racing have been the guys in Belgium and Holland. Some great drivers coming out there. That's why they've got such a good list of winners. I mean, if you think about the former world champions we've got here and the various national champions we've got here, well, Matthias Grooten, he's Belgian. Ruben Boutons, he's Dutch. Greg Laporte, he's Belgian as well. I mean, these guys have grown up doing this, and it's a fairly recent thing relatively for us here in the UK. Certainly taken this seriously. Brad Philpott, a championship organiser, we saw you get down there having a word with each of the drivers. We were thinking that you were explaining how you're going to get a cut of the 900 quid that one of them's going to win. Is that right?
Yeah, I was just telling them to slow down a bit for this year. No, I was just explaining to them so they were completely clear, because there are now 2 pit stops in this race. Usually, when the pit closing board comes out, they have to pit immediately to do their pit stop. In this race, because there's 2 pit stops, they have to pit immediately and do their first pit stop, and then do their second pit stop on the very next lap if they haven't done them by the time the pit closes.
Superb. Okay then, Brad. Well, obviously this is going to be very, very interesting to see. We're going to be forming up the starting lineup on the back straight there. Brad, we've got a 30-minute race this time, haven't we? And 2 pit stops. Now, we know that the likes of Greg Laporte and Ruben Boutons, they use this kind of code. I mean, the 3 of us here, we've all done the World Championships. We're used to that final heat race involving 2 pit stops. Now, somebody like Ed White, who starts on the pole, this is new to him, right?
Yeah, last year we just did the one, but Ed's clever enough to understand how this can go well. I don't think it's going to affect him.
Absolutely. Well, we'll soon see what his strategy like, because this is like business as usual for the likes of Greg LaPorte and Ruben Boutons and Matthias Grooten, but it's potentially a bit of a new game for Ed White, 2 pit stops.
Yeah, well, this is one of the things that set Ed apart this weekend. If it was me sat on pole position there with this bunch of European drivers all experienced in this kind of racing right behind me, I would be feeling the pressure. But Ed doesn't seem to, and he seems to just relish it. So I'm predicting he's going to soak it up and put in a good result.
Okay, well, here we are, the 2015 British Rental Car Championship. The final is about to get underway. Who's going to win this thing? Who's going to be going to the World Championships? Who's looking at £900? Well, Ed White is pacing them really, really slowly. This is the slowest pace lap we've seen. Are we going to get an Ed White start? Yes, we have. This is the British Rental Championship. The final is on, and Ed White sneaks into lead. Ruben Boutons second, Matthias Grooten third. This is what we've been here for all weekend. It's the British Rental Car Championship final. And round the snail section, it's all clean so far. Race on, this is the last race of the event, it's the final, the one that everyone's been waiting for, and Ed White is increasing his lead down the back straight. Here he comes, it's looking good for a British driver, Ed White. He turns in with a slight advantage over Ruben Boutons. Ruben Boutons, the reigning champion, has got Matthias Grooten on his tail now, and well, Ruben Boutons surely is going to be looking at the back of Ed White with envious eyes, planning on taking that one off him, but he's going to have to strategise this one. Now, Brad was saying that Ed White is pretty clever. Oh, a bit of contact there and some change of position. Craig LaPorte comes out of that one, yes, in ahead of Matt Barsh. Matt Barsh being elbowed down 2 places. Hofter's moved ahead as well. And so, interesting move there, but we've got a breakaway group of 3. A breakaway group of 3. It is Ed White, Ruben Boutons and Matthias Grooten. Here comes Ed White, round he goes. Ruben Boutons is behind him, and so is Matthias Grooten. A bit of a gap now to Greg LaPorte, the former world champion. Has got Stefan Verhofstadt behind him and Matt Barsh. Well, an interesting opener now, guys. So, first of all, Brad, what do you think of this breakaway group of 3? Can they pull away, or will LaPorte close in?
Okay, so first of all, 3 drivers who you'd expect to make a little bit of a break if they've got the machinery under them. Obviously, these drivers got to choose their car. So these guys were at the front. They've been paying attention to which carts have been doing particularly well. They've chosen them, and they've got the skills to match. So it's not a surprise to see them doing well.
So you heard it from champion organiser Brad Philpott, and Ed White has lost the lead. It is Ruben Boutons, as Brad was explaining what would go on. Ruben Boutons has taken the lead, and we've got a pit stop already. The pit stop is Michael O'Brien. Michael O'Brien comes into the pits. He takes his first stop, the first of 2 that he's going to make during this race, but Ruben Boutons, the reigning champion, has bundled his way past Ed White. Ruben Boutons into the lead, and as it's pulling away by about 3 car lengths onto the back straight they go. There they are, that's Ruben Boutons, the reigning champion. Ed White now heavily defending against Matthias Grooten, and whatever Ed White was planning on spending his £900 on, he's going to have to be thinking again, because Ruben Boutons has taken the lead off him. Ed White is going to be trying to close him down, but Ruben Boutons very, very quick. He's already won this championship last year, and he means to win it again. So, Lee Hackett, twice British champion. What do you feel about that move for the lead?
Yeah, stunning move. I don't think Ed was expecting it so early. So, lunged up the inside, and he's managed to break away. I think this definitely isn't the end. There's 2 pit stops to go. We've been racing for 2 minutes, so there's a lot to come.
Yeah, it was a real hun in the sun kind of move there by Ruben Boutons, because Ruben, I don't think Ed really expects anything that early. It is very early days. It's a 30-minute race, and I think Ed was expecting more strategy going on than a straight-up lunge by Ruben Boutons, but he's made it work. Meantime, Michael O'Brien is now running on his own. He's at the tail of the field, but he has made his first pit stop. He's the only one to stop so far. So, Ruben Boutons leads. Ed White gathering himself together. There's Ed White, ahead of Matthias Grooten, but Ed White runs a bit wide. Grooten closes in again. Hopefully, Ed White won't go to pieces. This is the first time that Ed White has not been in the lead this whole weekend. So, this is a new situation. Ed White actually looking at the back of another cart. Whatever happens, it's been a great performance by Ed White, and he's actually closing in back again to Boutons by looks of things, or he's trying to. Grooten is in 3rd place, and they're still continuing to just edge away from Greg LaPorte there. Now, Greg LaPorte is bringing Stefan Verhofstadt with him, and Matt Barsh. Now, Matt Barsh got bundled down a couple of places, so he's going to be keen to make the positions back up. So, into the stadium area, you can see on TV, it's Ruben Boutons in the lead from Ed White. Oh, and another pit stop. This is Stefan Verhofstadt. Stefan Verhofstadt pits out of his position behind Greg Laporte. And Verhofstadt has rejoined the race quite comfortably ahead of Michael O'Brien. Now, Michael O'Brien's got speed and momentum on his side as Verhofstadt leaves the pits, but certainly Verhofstadt has got a comfortable distance there. He's not going to lose position. So, Ruben Boutens. Ed White is now closing back in with Boutens, but it looks like he glanced the wall there, and that will have cost him a little bit in the middle of the hairpin. But he is still reeling in Boutens. Ed White is not done yet. He lost the lead. The question is, lads, start with you, Lee. Do you think Ed White can get this lead back?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be tough. It's never easy to get past Ruben. He knows where to defend, but it can be done in pit stops.
Absolutely, that's right, and which of course is why the pit stop can exist. They've got two of them. Very few people come in. Only Verhofstadt's come in, and only O'Brien has come in, and each driver has to make two. Brad, we're now looking at Ed White closing back in on Ruben Boutens. What do you think about this developing situation?
I think the key was that Ed didn't let his head go down and he didn't let the gap get too big. So he's now responded to that probably unexpected move by Ruben, and he's doing the job to get back up to his bumper.
Yeah, so, well, both Lee Hackett, twice champion, and Brad Philpott, the series organiser, seem to feel that, Ed White has got his head back in, he's regrouped, and he's starting to make inroads back in on Ruben Boutens. He's closing up on Ruben Boutens, closer than he has been ever since he got overtaken. And Ed White is really meaning business here. He's now almost, well, he's within a kart length, and Ruben Boutens is not going to have this one easy. Ruben Boutens is going to have to really work for this as Ed White closed in on him, and that is Matthias Gruten just waiting for anything behind to happen, but there's not a lot he can do about it because Ed White is really working on the back of Ruben Boutens now. He's closed right back in on the reigning champion. Meantime, Laporte and Barge continue behind him and the others, but down the back stretch it's Ed White close than ever to Ruben Boutens. There they are in the hairpin at the end of the back straight. Look how close White is now to the reigning champion and the race leader. There he is, Ruben Boutens continues on. Still none of the leaders are pitting. Greg Laporte, so Barge comes in, Matt Barge comes in to pits, the Polish driver. Impressive performance so far, not too bad a first stop. Let's see how he is on the second one. Yeah, he's looking good, he brings it to a halt and away he goes. He's going to have to try and come out ahead of Matt O'Brien, but and Stefan Verhofstadt has now taken his second stop, so the double early stop by Verhofstadt. Now Verhofstadt's going through to the finish. Verhofstadt has taken both his stops, he's going to run to the finish now. Some of the drivers haven't even been in at all, and Verhofstadt's taken both his stops. Okay, so Ed White all over the back of Ruben Boutens now. You can see on the camera there, he's leading the way into the pits. It's Greg Laporte. Greg Laporte pits out of 4th place. And also in the pits, it's Jake Campbell-Mills. Jake Campbell-Mills, never wise to pit when another driver's in there, but there's enough gaps there for Campbell-Mills to get away with it. And Campbell-Mills comes out. That's his first pit stop out of the way. He was running near the tail anyway. Stefan Verhofstadt is coming through and he's taken both his stops, so he's just going to run to the flag. So, Ruben Boutens with Ed White and Matthias Gruten, a three-way fight for the lead. And not only that, it's a three-way fight for the championship. And Matthias Gruten waving his arm there, you can see on the camera, he was waving to something, I'm not sure what that's about. Obviously, he's not looking for any blue flags, they're not going to flag the two leaders out of the way, and Gruten maybe wondering that Ed White could make a bit of a move on Bouten and he'll go with him, or whatever that is. Certainly we'll see how this develops. What possibly do you think Gruten could have been waving about, Brad?
He's possibly concerned that maybe the pack that started pitting are going to make some ground as everyone starts fighting, so Ed's in.
Yeah, that's Ed White. Ed White pits out to 2nd place now. It's going to be very interesting to see where he cycles back in. He's been passed by Kroon there, and he's come out importantly ahead of Laporte and Barge. So Ed White is now resuming on his way, and it's going to get a bit confusing now about who's actually in the lead. So let's have a look at this. Well, we've got Ruben Boutens leading definitely from Matthias Gruten. We think 3rd place is now Remy Trazka, because Trazka's not pitted and he's just making up time. Here's Trazka coming into the stadium area now, and there's Kroon. Kroon's not been in either, so we're thinking Kroon is 4th. Now there's Ed White, who has pitted. That's him probably in 5th, and there's Laporte and Barge, and Michael O'Brien takes his 2nd stop. Now O'Brien taking his 2nd stop, he's going to lose that place to Campbell-Mills. Campbell-Mills goes through, there's O'Brien in the pits now, there's Campbell-Mills with the yellow helmet went past, and here comes the race leader. Superb. Michael O'Brien has just set the fastest lap before that pit stop, and 33.8 is very quick. Now Cruton in the pits. Matthias Cruton pits out of second place. His first stop is all right. We've seen better than that though. Here comes Cruton down the pit road in the 18. Brings us to a halt. He stops in the box. This isn't as quick as he'd like, and here comes Ed White. Ed White takes the position. Ed White assumes the position ahead of Cruton. Big cheers. Ed White got a lot of fans here. Stefan Verhofstadt is taking the quickest lap now, and these times are coming tumbling down. Verhofstadt, of course, has made both his stops. He's a man on a mission. Into the bits, the race leader, Ruben Boutons. A great first. Oh no, he hasn't. Oh my goodness. Well,
yeah, he stopped
in the end, but well, there is not the greatest of stops there by Ruben Boutons. Clearly the pressure, and Ed White making a move on Booton. Is he going to punch him out of the way? Oh, and in the pits is Greg Laporte, but look at this battle for the lead.
Very fortunate job he stopped.
Yeah.
And Ed White now right on the back of Ruben Boutons, cycling back in where they all kind of started from. So we believe that might be the lead, but Remy Drauska, I don't think he's been in the pits yet, so I'm feeling that Remy Drauska's in the lead. What do you reckon, boys?
Yeah, he's currently in the lead, hasn't been, so the same as Brian as well.
Okay, so no, Michael O'Brien's been in twice, I think.
Brian.
Brian Cruton, yeah, Brian Cruton. Brian Cruton, of course. Brian Cruton is possibly second. So we're looking there. Oh, and Cruton takes second of Ed White, but Ed White gets it back. What a move in the Snell section there. First, Ed White lost the position, then he got it back. But crucially, look at that gap now to Ruben Boutons. Look, coming down the back straight. It's well, there's several car lengths now. Ruben Boutons in the lead, and Ed White now has to close in. However, Lee, we saw earlier on, Lee, that when Ed White lost that lead position, he clawed it back, the time back to Ruben Boutons. Do you think he can do it now?
Yeah, well, the gap is actually bigger this time, I believe. So he's got his work cut out.
Well, yes, he has, and someone needs to remind him about the 900 quid, and that might help him out.
Yeah, it might help him. He's got Cruton to worry about behind as well, but I think Cruton's a smart racer, so they should work together.
Yeah, Cruton's smart enough to not cause too much of a problem that would slow the pair of them away from Ruben Boutons, but he will be looking for Ed White to get a bit of a move on and catch up with the Dutch reigning champion.
Ed White fastest lap, 8:07, and 17 minutes left.
Okay, we've got 17 minutes left in the race, and Ed White is the fastest. So Ed White is the fastest so far, and so a new fastest lap by Ed White, and he's going to need to, if he do lap times like that, if he's going to be closing in on the driver ahead, Ruben Boutons. We still think it's Drauska in the lead though, from Brian Cruton. So here comes Drauska, round to start another lap. Cruton there, and a move there, a move. Matthias Cruton passes Ed White, and Cruton on White, that could change the complexion. Yeah, Cruton's passed Ed White.
That's fourth place. That has been fourth.
I think Cruton is now running fourth, because we've got Drauska leading, we believe, Cruton second, and then Boutons.
I think number 20 right behind him.
Yeah, that's Matt Barsh. So getting very close now. Lee, it's really getting cagey in this one now. Drauska and Cruton are staying out there and spending a lot of time on the track without pitting. They're going to clearly pit both pit stops near the end.
Yeah, I think they're just saving them. They weren't wasting them. They obviously feel like they've got a bit of pace. So why not? Brian Cruton looks really quick out there. He's definitely catching up with the leader.
Absolutely, we're nearly on half distance, Lee, and well, it's shaping up to be a classic. Certainly Drauska's in the lead, but it's a bit of a, I wouldn't call it a false lead, but he's running very fast. We've got a bad passport given to the 18 cards, and we're going to try and identify which one that is. We don't have the timing screened up, so it's Matthias. Yes, it's Matthias Cruton. He's been given a bad passport. He may need to give that position back or face a penalty. So we'll see what Cruton does. Here comes Cruton in the Snell section. There he is on the picture, coming in now, just out of the Snell section. Into the pits is Jake Campbell-Mills for his second stop. It's a bit of a sliding stop there on the second part by Campbell-Mills, but he gets the job done and rejoins. So Remy Drauska still leading, and Brian Cruton is second. So Drauska leading, and here comes Ruben Boutons in third. Now Ruben Boutons has closed in. He's only made one pit stop, and the ones ahead of him haven't made any. So Ruben Boutons surely is looking good for the win again in this one. and it really will be incredible in this new format to see Booten win 2 in a row. But Drazga certainly is doing his level best, but it may not be enough, because I don't know about you, Lee, but if you look at Drazga, he certainly doesn't have track position in terms of, he's not bit stopped, and Booten has. I think Booten really could take the lead here.
Yeah, it's definitely not a 10-second lead, that. So he's got some, I don't think he can put in the effort. I think Booten is too close.
Absolutely, and into the pits comes Matt Barsh. Matt Barsh for his second stop. So Matt Barsh brings it to a halt and rolls it forward to the second stopping point. Here comes Barsh, he's going to lose a position to Verhofstadt. Now Verhofstadt's done both his stops, so he can run through the flag. That's Barsh, and O'Brien and Laporte go through. So bad news for Barsh. Barsh probably going to be down the order as a result of that, so we'll see what happens there. Here comes Drazga though. Drazga's not pitted at all, he still continues to not pit. Same with Kroon, but Ruben Boutens is now closing in on them. Now bear in mind, Ruben Boutens has made a pit stop, so Kroon is first on his hit list. Now into the pits, it's Matthias Kroon, and he of course had a bad pass forward.
Stefan's going to pass him.
And yes, Verhofstadt passes Kroon.
So do these guys.
And so does, wow, goodness sake, Laporte's gone in front of Grooten, and Grooten, with that bad pass, having to let Ed White back through, seems to cost him dearly. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, he's lost loads of places, so I don't know what he was thinking with that stop.
So it could be game over for the former world champion there, Matthias Grooten, in terms of winning. At the moment, we're still thinking that it's Remy Drazga in the lead and Kroon second, but with Boutens closing in on the pair of them. Now Boutens is really making good inroads to these two. He has a big stop in hand, and Ed White 33.5 for Ruben Boutens. That's about the fastest we've seen getting on for the whole weekend. Incredible performance in the British Rental Car Championship final. Ruben Boutens, with that sort of lap time, clearly shows he's serious about retaining that title and joining Yuli as a twice winner of the championship.
I will welcome him onto the step.
So gracious Lee Hackett there, who is of course already a two-time champion. Ruben Boutens attempting that here and now at Formula Fast in Milton Keynes to become a two-time British champion. And Remy Drazga still has not been in, nor is Brian Kroon, and Ruben Boutens closing in on them. We can see on the picture here, it's Remy Drazga coming through into the stadium area. There's Kroon, but here more importantly is Ruben Boutens. Is that Kroon in the pits? Yes it is. Kroon comes in, Brian Kroon, he comes in and takes his stop. He's going to make a second stop there. Yes he does, and out he goes. It's well, we'll see where that puts him down. He's ahead of Verhofstadt. That's important. So, but Kroon has only made one stop. So when he makes the second one, surely Verhofstadt will end up coming out ahead of him. I don't think he's looking good for Brian Kroon now. Although, as we said, Kroon did start 10th, so anything he makes up from that is going to be a gain.
Jake's lost a lot of time. His car must be a little bit off the pace, I think.
Well, so we're effectively kind of ruling out Kroon and Campbell Mills already, which sounds a harsh thing to say. It is the British Rental Car Championship final, so we've got the best drivers in the race now. And we do fancy Ruben Boutens for the win of this one. Still, Remy Drazga has not pitted, and Remy Drazga is well, it's about the longest running of the longest running strategies. This one by Remy Drazga. He's going to stay out for practically the whole race by the looks of things. 2 pit stops required, and he looks like he's going to make them at the end. But Boutens is closing him in. Now, Ed White. Ed White has been relieved of any problem from Matthias Kroon for the moment. We think Ed White's made one stop and Ruben Boutens made one stop. Drazga has not made any stops at all, and Drazga is not sufficiently far ahead to come out in the lead there, so can't really expect him to win, but he's looking good at the moment, leading the way, Remy Drazga. So Drazga leading in the 13 kart, Boutens second, 14 is Ed White. And I must stress though that Drazga has not pitted, he's got 2 pit stops to make. On the screen there we've got Brian Kroon going through, being chased down by Stefan Verhofstadt. And there's Greg Laporte and Matthias Kroon, the World Championship, each for those 2 drivers there. Circulating through the Snell section, here they come out to the Snell section now. And Drazga continues in the lap. Still no sign of any kind of pit stop from Drazga. He's really leaving it late for both stops, Lee, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's in clear air, so no point pitting yet.
Absolutely, he does not need to stop if he's not being held up at all. It's probably in his interest to keep on going, but Ruben Bouton is closing in on him anyway, so Ruben Bouton is really looking good for this one. He's building up an even bigger lead over Ed White. Bouton has one pit stop in the bag. Bouton has one pit stop in the bag, and so does Ed White behind him as they continue to circle around, and that's going to help them in their efforts to overhaul Drazga. And into the pits again comes Brian Kroon. Brian Kroon taking his second stop. Verhofstadt has now passed him, and so has the Laporte-Grooten battle. In fact, several cars have gone through ahead, so that could well put Kroon to the back of the field now. Jake Campbell-Mills is struggling along too.
Just past Laporte.
Yeah, Grooten has got past Laporte. Well spotted there, Lee Hackett, as Matthias Grooten moves ahead of Greg Laporte. But at the moment, we think it's still Remy Drazga in the lead. And Drazga continuing around. Still no sign of a pit stop from Drazga. Grooten has taken Laporte position. Okay, so yes, we're looking at Remy Drazga, who's not pitted, has definitely been moved, just had confirmation of that from Bouton and Ed White, so our guess is correct as Remy Drazga. We're still waiting for that first pit stop from Drazga, and what a long game he's playing, Lee. He's the only one running that far.
Yeah, he's the only one running. I'm just having a quick look. It looks like Stefan Hoffman's really running really well. If Ed White pits now, I think he'd come out behind him.
Absolutely, Lee, and Drazga is in the pits. It's an awful stop for him. He hit the wall and took a bit of time to get stopped, so Drazga in the pits. Ruben Bouton has assumed the lead now. He's one pit stop in, and Drazga tumbles down the order, obviously as a result of that pit stop, so Drazga has gone out of the lead. So it's, as far as we're concerned, we believe, or as I say, we have our timing screen down at the moment, we're not really sure, but we're pretty certain that Ruben Bouton is in the lead now from Ed White. And then following on from Ed White, well, it may well be Drazga. It may still be Drazga. It is Drazga third. So Remy Drazga has done enough to remain third. He's coming in again. Drazga, two quick stops in succession. He stops for the first one, the first box, and it's another poor stop by Drazga. Surely, yes, he's definitely losing lots of positions now. So we think now that it could be Matthias Grooten in third place, you reckon?
Stefan is.
Stefan Verhofstadt, we think, may have leapfrogged into third position. Verhofstadt taking both Ed White into
this. This is interesting. Stefan might be able to take him. Stefan might be able to take Ed here.
Okay, so we've got Ed White coming down the pits, but here is Stefan Verhofstadt. Stefan Verhofstadt passes Ed White for position. There we go. And so Verhofstadt has moved ahead of Ed White, we think. Verhofstadt has only made two stops, and so has Ed White. So into the pits there is Ruben Bouton, the race leader, into the pits. Surely he's got enough time to get out in front. It's a reasonable pit stop.
This is the final pit stop.
It's his last pit stop of the.
So now it is.
The race
is on.
So race right through to the finish now. We're wondering if anyone still has some stops to make. Surely it's going to be a couple of them, but well, that's all of them. All the stops. Lee Hackett reckons all of the stops are done. So there we go, Lee.
And we can get confirmation from our pit name.
Yeah, we'll see for that one. Certainly, it's looking very good now for Ruben Bouton to retain his championship. So, Lee, we think we've got Ruben Bouton leading from Stefan Verhofstadt and Ed White, correct?
Yeah, I believe that's our top 3, and it looks like Stefan is the fastest on track.
Yeah, Stefan is moving really quick. So here's Ruben Boutins, there's Stefan Verhofstadt, there it is on the screen, and then it's Ed White, and then Matthias Gruten and Greg Laporte. So these pit stop type people, there's Michael O'Brien and Matt Barsh. Matt Barsh running competitively, but a little bit further back in this final than what we've seen him so far. So Ruben Boutins looking good for retaining his British Championship. But Stefan Verhofstadt running very quickly indeed. Ed White is in 3rd place, but they're all inside down the straight there. So there's the leader, Boutins, 2nd, Verhofstadt, then Ed White, then Gruten, then Laporte. Oh, in a pass position there. Matt Barsh has taken Michael O'Brien. Matt Barsh has taken Michael O'Brien at the hairpin there. Barsh really forcing his way through, trying to catch up with those ahead of him. So, well, Stefan Verhofstadt's been a bit of a surprise, hasn't he, Lee? Running very fast.
Yeah, he did his 2 pit stops really early, got them out of the way and pushed really hard, and it's worked for him.
Yeah, that's right, and so far we haven't seen the early stops working for people, but it obviously has in this case. And down there it's still Ruben Boutins, we can see coming into the camera shot, there he is, there's the race leader Ruben Boutins, Stefan Verhofstadt 2nd, 3rd place is Ed White, 4th Gruten, and 5th Greg Laporte. So Ruben Boutins continues on his way, surely not that long to go now. We'll be looking for the flag to come out. All the drivers, as Lee confirms, have actually made their pit stops. And Ruben Boutins on the back straight now. There's Ruben Boutins coming down the back straight. Here he is heading towards our camera. That's the race leader. There's Ruben Boutins. There is Stefan Verhofstadt and Ed White. Ed White, the top place British driver. And Matthias Gruten and Greg Laporte are following. The 2 Belgians are following Ed White there. Well, round they go. It's still another lap in the bank for Ruben Boutins. He's on his merry way, but it looks like Stefan Verhofstadt is gradually inching up on him. Lee, can you see a situation where Verhofstadt might actually close in on the leader here? He's not far behind.
No, I believe he's taking small tenths out of him. Not too fast. I think he needs to pick up the pace a little bit, or maybe if Boutins made a mistake, he'll be able to pull it back. It's going to be tough for him to catch it on outright pace.
Absolutely right, so we think Verhofstadt may well be closing.
Yeah. What are we saying? Yeah. And everyone's done their pit stop.
So Ruben Boutins still leads from Stefan Verhofstadt. Stefan Verhofstadt there, 2nd place now. Lee was talking there, we may well be finding that Verhofstadt is actually inching up on Ruben Boutins and could well be making a race for it by the end. So Ruben Boutins still leading, but Stefan Verhofstadt is really close, and Ed White is actually not far behind him either. Matthias Gruten is bridging the gap between himself and Ed White. He's moved away from Greg Laporte and is closing in on Ed White. Now the first 5 are coming off the snail section now. They're coming around that big looping bend to the back straight. So onto the back straight they go, and there's the camera. So there's the leader, Ruben Boutins. There's the 2nd place, Stefan Verhofstadt and Ed White, Matthias Gruten and Greg Laporte. They're the top 5. Here he comes. Yeah, he has. He's stopped really early.
How long left? And has everybody stopped?
So Ruben Boutins is definitely in the lead there with Stefan Verhofstadt 2nd. We've got Ed White 3rd, Matthias Gruten 4th, and Greg Laporte still running in 5th. They're really doing all they can to get on terms with the race leader. And they're bringing the checkered flag out. This is it. This is going to be the last lap. It's Ruben Boutins, the British Championship. It's going to go for the 2nd time in succession. It's Ruben Boutins wins the title for the 2nd time. Stefan Verhofstadt 2nd, Ed White 3rd, Matthias Gruten 4th, Greg Laporte 5th. And look at this battle on the line there for 6th place and 7th place. That is O'Brien and Barsh, and Ed Kroon comes in 8th. We think that is Remy Draska 9th, and Matthias and Jake Campbell-Mills. So the top 5 is, as we thought, it's Ruben Boutins and Stefan Verhofstadt and Ed White, Matthias Gruten and Greg Laporte. What a fantastic result there.
Great, Stefan started 6th.
And we think the real moves were being made by Stefan Verhofstadt, and there around his victory lap goes Ruben Boutins. Ruben Boutins there is making his victory lap with the checker flag held high. He is a double British champion. He's come over from Holland, and it's the second time he's done it and the second time he's won it. So Ruben Boutins, there he is, taking his victory lap with the flag. Here he comes down the back straight. Ruben Boutins, the British champion for 2015. British Rental Car Championship, once again won by Ruben Boutins, the second two-time winner. So Ruben Boutins pulls into the pits, and what a result by him. But also, what a result there for Stefan Verhofstadt. He started fairly low down the order, but he came through to second place. A great run by him. Ed White, we saw on the pole position, he started on pole, and he has been bundled down to third, unfortunately for him. Matthias Cruton fourth, Greg Laporte fifth, and so on and so forth. But what a run there. Ruben Boutins, the new British Championship. Okay, that concludes the online service from us here. Myself, James Hall, the commentator, helped by Lee Hackett in that final. Here from Formula Fast in Milton Keynes, this was the British Rental Car Championship of 2015, and what a show it's been. Thanks for watching.